Does Project Hail Mary live up to the hype? Does it live up to Interstellar, 2001: A Space Odyssey, or even The Martian, which is written by the same person? Yes, but no. It's definitely trying to do something really different, and that's kind of why I want to talk about this movie so much. Project Hail Mary stars Ryan Gosling as he plays a character named Grace, and he's sent off into space to study this thing called astrofuge, which is some sort of material that is somehow eating away at our star and making it so humanity will probably not last the next 30 years. What's great about this movie is that it actually flips the space trope on its head. So normally when we go into a movie like this, let's say like Interstellar or The Martian or Gravity, the idea of space is that it's very unknowable, it's unforgiving, and it oppresses the humanity of whoever's on board these spaceships. Especially when it's a mission where they're going to try to save humanity, it ends up becoming very isolating for them. And this movie also does the same thing. Like, the first quarter of the movie is kind of about that aspect, and it does it really, really well. But what's great about this is about halfway through the movie, we actually meet another lonely astronaut. We meet someone who's from an entirely different race, but is more similar to us than dissimilar. I think that's great, especially nowadays, because we don't really get very many movies where we meet likable aliens, but still have the same sort of oppression of being in the universe. Like, nothing about the universe actually changes. It's still just as scary. I mean, this astrofuge is really scary. It's killing all these stars. Like, all of this is still very, very oppressive. But then we meet Rocky. And what's great about Rocky is that he's more human than not. And this is instead of the alternative where perhaps we go into black holes and we go into different planes of existence that are hard to understand and are beyond human comprehension. It keeps everything very grounded in what it means to be human, which is very fun when you're dealing with an alien, to have it be centered around humanity and the fact that humanity can actually stretch past even humankind. Does it have the best space in the game though? No, definitely not. I 100% believe Interstellar is still the most beautiful space movie I've ever seen in my life, and 2001: A Space Odyssey is still in a league of its own in terms of its cinematography. But this movie, like I said, is trying to do something very different. So it's standing on the shoulders of these giants, and it's using a lot of callbacks and visual cues that are very similar to those movies. I mean, I guess you can say Interstellar was already heavily inspired by 2001: A Space Odyssey, so Project Hail Mary is just kind of the next step forward in that. But Lord and Miller, the directors of this movie, they are not Nolan and Kubrick. They're not going to become hyper-obsessive about the science of this world and about how to best show this in the most accurate way. That's not what they're interested in. What they're interested in is Ryan Gosling as Grace and Rocky. And they do a great job with that. So much so that I cried at least 5 times during the movie because I was just so deeply attached to these characters. But that isn't to say that this movie is ugly by any sense of the imagination. It is still a phenomenally great space movie. And it's definitely the best one I've seen probably since Interstellar. And you have to go watch it in theaters if you can. I'm gushing just thinking about it. I want to go watch it again. It was so good. I'm really enthralled with how they depicted Grace throughout this movie and the editing of the past and the present. It's really interesting because it begs the question, how did he go from a school teacher to being the astronaut who's able to do all these brave and heroic feats? Especially because in the trailer, you hear Ryan Gosling or Grace say over and over again, I'm just a school teacher. I can't do this. So when we're getting these flashbacks, you're kind of waiting for that tipping point when he actually becomes this man that we see in the present time, where he becomes this person who would go back and risk his own life to save this alien that he just met. And by all accounts, he should be able to do this. He is not a Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar, where he has a family that he's abandoning. He has no friends, he has no family, he doesn't even have any pets, which they actually mention in the movie. This should be way easier for him to accept. And what's great about this movie is that he never does. There is never a tipping point. We get all the way to the end of the movie, we see him risk his life over and over and over again, do things that he should not be expected to do. And he still ran away even towards the end. Right at the end, he said he wasn't going to become an astronaut. He wasn't the man to do this. And they're like, I'm sorry. We need you. And they chase him down and tranquilize him to force him onto the ship. And it's just so powerful to see a character who's so likable, so capable, so charismatic, still to the very end try to run away from this responsibility. And that's what this movie is all about. The idea that you will be able to step up to the plate. You will be able to take on these heavy burdens when the time comes. And I just love that so much. Oh my God, let's talk about that ending because it was so fucking good. I actually thought this movie was going to end 3 separate times while watching the movie. And I'm saying this in a completely complimentary way, not in a way where I'm like, oh my God, it was so long. I thought it was going to end so many times. No, what's great about this is that this movie tries to trick you. It wants you to think that we're going to get a very generic movie ending where one of them sacrifices himself for the other one. And each time it was going to happen, it felt right. It was like, oh, this makes sense with their friendship. This is what they would do. But no, they trick us all the way to the end where it's like, oh, he doesn't even get to go back to Earth, which I think was the last twist in my opinion when he wakes up and you're like, oh, okay, he made it back to Earth. Rocky's at his planet. But no, they stay together and they stay on Rocky's planet and he gets to do exactly what he wanted to do all along, which is teach and have a best friend who can be there with him while he's doing this. Not only that, and this is more of a side note, but he gets to teach life forms that are not made of water, which is what he was all about right at the beginning of the movie. I love having a Hope Corps space movie, which seems very antithetical. It doesn't seem like that should work. Space is very unforgiving, very cruel, like I said before. But no, it flips on its head and it says, the universe isn't cruel. As long as you are kind, the universe will never be cruel. Overall, I'm thinking a 4.5 out of 5. In my heart, I feel like it should probably be a 4, and I'm sure when I rewatch this movie in a couple years, I probably will knock it down to a 4. I just really, really liked it, and I think that what I needed right now was a Hope Corps movie about 2 best friends in a very unlikely movie. So yeah, please go check it out. It's more than worth it. It's an amazing movie. So, memento mori. Bye.